Hello guys, welcome back to Lines of Battle, and one of you have sent me a very interesting message recently. This amazing gentleman has told me about a strategy that led him to win 20 battles in a row. And of course, that was enough to pique my interest, so we went on to and we played a couple games. The first of these games is right over here. I was playing as blue, he was playing as red, and to be exactly fair, he did not have that much time to set up his army, and so he basically went with the regular army deployment. Because of this, we cannot really see his plans based on his deployment alone, so we will have to look at my deployment for seeking any pre-battle thoughts. Now I have to mention how I wasn't really that so locked in for this battle. In fact, my positioning isn't actually that so great, but I haven't really seen it at the time. So I will give you a couple turns to see the mistake that I made in my deployment before I actually reveal it to you. But so overall I have just placed my artillery on either side of this hill over here. I have also put my best units to guard them, very standard. My line infantry is my classic loose formation on the flanks, and I have decided to put my cavalry on the flanks as well, just because I have looked at his cavalry and he has quite some more than I do, so I was just anticipating for the very classic cavalry build play. Now, if you already watched some battle replays, then you probably already know how cavalry players usually want to put their cavalries onto a very threatening position on the flanks, and once the infantry manages to advance into the center very close to your lines, their cavalries just spring into action, just breaking right behind your lines and sandwiching you in from all sides. They basically force all of your troops to have a single decisive battle at the same time, having to fight at multiple directions and possibly even multiple theaters. So to kinda counter this, I have just placed my cavalry on the flanks. This was a good plan, I believe. However, let's look at his actual plan. And if you cannot tell his plan by his deployment, then maybe his opening moves will reveal something. So let's just look at the opening moves. He seems to be going for my prediction so far, as he is moving out with his cavalry in the flank. But have you noticed the weakness in my position? Because at this point, I am starting to see what mistake I have made in the deployment. But let's just look at this for a couple more turns and then it might become even more obvious. Now the mistake in my deployment is directly linked to my artillery. If you have looked at his build, you can see how he has a little more infantry and a little more cavalry than I do. Now on the other hand, he does have the weaker artillery. So if I can just shoot at him from a distance, then I might just be fine. However, even though that my artillery has a pretty long range, this range is not really usable if the enemy can hide behind a shield or a blanket. And this is the problem with this terrain. As you can see, my artilleries are set on this hill over here in the center, but this hill right next to it provides a perfect cover for the enemy. My enemy could just hide behind this hill, and once the time comes for the attack, they could just rush at my artilleries, and I would lose a large part of my ranged attack, because he would be just covered by the hill for the initial moves, where I could unleash some fire at him. The same is true over here. There is this hill on the left as well that provides a blanket for him, and then to make it even worse, he also has a forest which is very close to my artillery. So I looked at this position and I was just thinking that I really messed this up, because now I will have a really hard time to use my artillery in this game. In fact, it would have been way better if I went for this hill instead. As you can see, this hill is surrounded by plains on pretty much either side. I could have used my ranged advantage way more efficiently. There are only a couple covers like over here behind this hilltop, and the areas covered by this forest, as well as some parts of this hill. But overall, this hill would have been a way better option. However, it was too late to change it. So I was just trying to make the best out of my formation. And as you can see, I was kinda trying to find a better position for my artilleries. In fact, at this point I have decided to pull this artillery to over here, so that I could overwhelm him with my artillery on the left flank. I was thinking of defeat in detail. If I could defeat him on the left, then I might have a better chance at winning the battle. In fact, even despite the forest, my artilleries can still cover a larger distance than if I had them faced on the right flank. So that was my number one go-to choice at this position, while I have also begun creating some cavalry threats of my own over here and over here. Now these aren't that so powerful, I just wanted to have some control of my own over the battle, but it may have been way too late for that. Let's just see where this goes. He's getting closer, and there is this very strange thing at this spot, because I was absolutely expecting him to just go for the default cavalry play, which is to flank you behind with the cavalry, and once the infantry is in place, they just sandwich you in all together. I'm not making another emoji, this is an actual battle plan. A very common battle plan even. However, instead of playing this, he actually went for my center. Now, make no mistake, if he goes for the center, he can only go for one thing: my artillery. I was aware of this, and I was reminded of a previous game that I played. In fact, it was against none other but the 6th best lines of battle player that went something like this. He has charged straight at my exposed artillery, but then as he tries to take them out, I managed to gain the upper hand, kill much of his cavalry, and then I ended up winning this battle at the end. So this has filled me with a sense of hope that maybe my position isn't doomed actually. However, as you see, I am still not on my top performance, because these light infantries reacted way too lately. If it had depended on them, then his cavalry would have reached my cannons. However, just miraculously, I have managed to hold his first wave of attack by just a few pixels. Now look at this. This cavalry is probably like 4 pixels away from my artillery, and it is stopped by this line infantry over here. This cavalry is also like 10 pixels away from my artillery, and it is stopped by this line infantry. So I had some very big luck with predicting his movement. However, my predictions are about to fail, because he just turns around with this cavalry, rushes straight at my artillery, and I'm just helpless. There it goes, my artillery is gone. But yet, I have managed to disable 2 of his cavalries, and 1 of his cavalry is actually weakened. In some sense, it is even a greater win than the advantage I gained after this engagement in this previous battle. So I still very much had some very high hopes, but I had to acknowledge how my position was pretty bad. First of all, this guard cannot really continue chasing after his cavalry, because there is a very big horde of infantry coming straight at him, and if I go any step further, this guard will die. My second problem is how my artillery is completely useless. The line of fire is currently blocked by my cavalry, and then also by the terrain. I cannot really shoot at his position right now because the hill blocks it over here. So I have quite some problems to solve in this battle. and whenever you have many problems, something is likely to go wrong. But let me just zoom out real quick, so you can get the larger picture. I still have a cavalryman over here, but I can't really do anything yet. Now maybe if he was to move away with his garrisons around that artillery, I could do some very nice damage on him. But the elephant in the room is that I need to relocate quickly. I couldn't form a line on this hill, that is not a chance anymore. I have to pull back to the plains up north. Well, I have quite some plains over here. It could work out if I can move my units quick enough, but for this to work, I need to evacuate my artillery, and they need to be unharmed. If I lose my artillery, I cannot leverage on my artillery advantage. So, I will try to save this artillery by moving in with this line infantry at the right time. I was a bit late at some point, but overall, I have managed to disable yet another cavalryman. So now overall, we have beaten 3 cavalrymen completely, and one of them is also very weakened. This looks kinda nice. So I looked at this. Yeah, we are losing the center. We have to fall back to delay the decisive engagement. And in the meanwhile, I could try to defeat him in detail by trying to win on the left. So I just tried to overwhelm him a bit. I also tried to utilize my relative cavalry advantage in this little part of the battle. So as you can see, I am just flanking his units very wildly, and it's working out. His units are losing health. He is about to take some losses. And yet at the same time, my artillery is under a direct attack. Now to save my artillery, I have decided to make the sacrifice by sending this infantry unit to seek after this other unit over here. And so I have put out the seek order. However, I didn't really expect the unit to just do this weird movement over here. And unfortunately, this may have just lost me the artillery. Micro mistakes can be really devastating, as you can see. I have now lost my greatest hope in this battle. But still, at the same time, I have beaten one of his line infantries. If I can win on the left, then maybe there still is a hope after all. So I just keep the current plan up, trying to see if there is any way to win this battle, but his cavalry arrives a bit too early, and my lines fall apart. Now at this point, I have to resign, and he won the battle. But now, at this point, I was already aware of my mistakes, and I have managed to lock in. I have also believed that I could defeat him on a better terrain. So, we went on to play another game, and I had a plan in mind. Now, I'm going to switch over to my real-time recording, so you can actually see how I came up with my plan, and then maybe you can learn a bit more that way. Enjoy!
And I see you've got the same strat.
Same good old strat. It will not fail a second time, don't worry.
Yeah, I mean, no strategy now, so you probably have a better shot beating it, but we shall see. We shall see.
We shall see, yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck, have fun.
But yeah, good luck to you, my man. I'll see you in a bit.
See you in a bit. Okay, so we have a second chance at beating him, and he is not ready to what's about to happen to him. He is going to be destroyed completely. You know, I like this guy. He seems to be very nice of a person, but he is about to be obliterated. I'm just being honest about it. Alright, I probably shouldn't have my infantry like right in front of my cannons, because I don't really like friendly fire that much in this game. That kinda hurts my troops, you know? Oh, also, I should have my guards in the forest. Yeah, let's do that. Guards in the forest equals good. And then this line could get closer to the center now. Alright, this looks fine-ish. Alright, let's look at his formation. Oh, that's a rectangle center. I have never really seen a rectangle center in an online game. Alright, and then we also have some cavalry forts on the sides. Think I can deal with this one. This time, Last time it was all luck, trust me. But this time he is getting beaten by skill. Alright, I should just try to hold this forest a bit, and then I should be fine. Let's not make too many moves in the first round. I want to let him make his own thing, and then just react to it. I am a better responsive player than an initiator player. Yeah, so he is staying to his plan, it seems like. I now have a plan to counter his tactics. As you see, I will just keep my cavalry in the center, because whenever he would just try to attack my artillery, I could just very quickly mobilize my own cavalry, and then we could probably cause a stalemate over here. Also, now I have this very amazing and generous plains at the center of this map, so he no longer has any hiding spots. Very sweet and amazing. One of my concerns is that he might just choose to split his army, or just even just go with all of these troops to right over here into this forest, and then just flank me from the side. In that case, I would probably just evacuate the forest and then just fall back to hold this kind of area over here. But yeah, I'm kind of fine for now, so well, let's just move them a little bit closer, at least this one. And then I will skip the turn with the rest of my troops. Oh, I kind of feel bad for like making him wait potentially up to like a minute just to move one of my artilleries. Yeah, that might not be the fairest play I ever played, but hey, I am trying to give some quality commentary right here. Alright, second thing, I will now try to mobilize both of my artilleries and then just try to wear him down in detail. That could go very far and bring some very nice results. And now just hopefully I wouldn't mess this up. I mean, there's still a chance, of course. After I have lost my previous round, but I am a changed person. You cannot imagine how large of a transformation have I went through in the past 5.5 minutes. I have an entirely different world vision now. Alright, let's just end our turn on this note, and let's obliterate him to pieces. Okay, right. He has turned back with his artillery, it seems like. But now I can also shoot at his cavalry over here, which is kind of fair of a trade-off for me. And yeah, I was right about my initial feelings. He is just going to commit to a battle in the forest, in which case he has a lot more troops than I do. So that could be problematic. And now I'm just calculating whether taking this town could put me in a better position or not. I mean, I would be facing off like 12 line infantries, probably like 4 cavalries and 1 horse artilleries, and I could mobilize like 6 line infantries, 2 cavalries and 2 guards. That is very far away from something favorable. So unfortunately I will have to pull out of this forest with my troops, because there's just no way of holding it for now. At the same time, I can also just move with my other line infantries and prepare for a battle fought somewhere over here on the map. Oh, my pencil is like very slow. It's like over here on the map. Let me just do that and pull out of the forest. Should I move my artillery even closer? In fact, I might just move my artillery closer, in fact. Yep. And let's end our turn. Alright. This looks kinda nice. Should I try to shoot at the marching column? They are a bit too far away, and I don't really see an advantage in pulling closer to them. I could try something interesting. What if I just pulled the core of my force right over here? Because on the one side, I have the river to cover me, although there is a little opening over here and over here, so I would have to watch out for those. But basically, my main intention with this move is that I would be further away from the forest, and I could apply more pressure on his left flank. And well, you know, eventually when they go out of the forest to assault me, I would now have a larger distance from which I could apply pressure on his troops. So yeah, I will want to go further with this plan. and I will just start moving my artillery into position. That of course also requires my cavalry to follow them, because my cavalry is my lifeguard right now. And we shall see the results from this turn in just a second. In fact, it is just right now. Well. He is just seems to be going for a very long maneuver right around the forest, completely bypassing my previous garrisons. I'm not sure why. He probably wouldn't continue with this plan now that I pulled out of the forest, but it was interesting to see nonetheless. Alright, now let's just continue moving my artillery closer to him. I can't turn around with these troops right now because they will move faster once they are actually facing the direction they are going at. Okay, let's check this out. He is withdrawing with some of his troops. That is the most interesting. I think I might want to continue moving towards him for next round. You know, now his horse artillery is almost in position, but unfortunately for him, I have picked an entirely different battleground, and now he would have to readjust his battle plans, possibly finding a brand new battle plan even, so that is absolutely looking great for me, and pretty bad for him. But now, once again, I will just continue with my previous plans for this turn, nothing really crazy, I will just wait for his response. And the next turn I will just start bombarding his troops over here. Okay, let's check these moves out. And alright, so he seems to be trying to flank me from my base kinda. That is going to be interesting. I'm not super worried, but it is interesting nonetheless. And so his artillery is not super defended. I could just shoot him down very confidently. In fact, I might just do that right now. Now, interestingly enough, I could also overwhelm his cavalry down there. But I am kind of worried about the reinforcements over here, so I might just cancel on that plan. And yet, it was a fairly decent plan. However, I still have some of these infantries to get into position. But now we are really looking pretty decent, I would say. Yes, we have kinda abandoned our victory point, which is never super great. But in this position, the victory point is not our greatest concern. We would like to pick a position where we could force him to fight on our conditions. And my condition is to have a very flat battle, where I can very easily capitalize on my artilleries, while also having them protected from enemy fire and shenanigans. Let's watch his new turns. He just seems to be rushing straight at my infantry. That is probably not going to work out that well for him. He has also seemed to have abandoned his position in the town with his cavalry, so I might shoot him down, or I might just keep shooting at his artillery. I haven't made the choice yet, but in fact I will just probably shoot his artillery with one of my artillery, and my other one is going to watch over this cavalry over here. I will make sure that my infantries are able to react to any cavalry threat in a reasonable amount of time. And this looks fine to me, so I will just end my turn and I will see how he plans to react to my current situation, because to be fair, I am doing something that he probably hates to see, because you never want to see your opponent want to control the battleground this so badly, because eventually if they just keep doing this, they might just come out on top. Now he's making some very threatening moves with those cavalry units, but I'm still not convinced that I am doomed by that. So just in fact, I think I will mobilize my guards like around here. I will continue shooting at this cavalry down over here. Now in the center, I am kind of forced to choose between my artilleries. I think I will just support this artillery with this one, and this infantry should support that artillery. This cavalry could hopefully just go around and protect the other flank. I guess so, yeah. I mean, this river is in a very clutch position because it would take some time for him to cross. So I could even just move right over here. and then this infantry could fill the place of that. And this looks fine. I should keep an eye out for that advance, and I haven't removed these troops in this turn, so that's a bit of a problem. But other than that, we are doing really fine, to be fair. Now let's try not to die too badly. I would much rather die not as badly rather than to die very badly. That is one of my great wisdoms. Alright, and let's try to make some use of this cavalry over here, and also let's do some very bad things to him with this infantry right over here. I also have to move some of my infantries further back so I could delay the battle with his infantry. And what about these cavalries? I should just move them in the center to shield my artilleries a bit more, yeah. That should work out. Okay, that is all I can do for the most part. I could probably turn around this artillery to shoot at my incoming attackers. That would be a pretty smart idea, especially how he's going to deal some double damage to me in a couple of turns. So yeah, let's just move into formation and try to repel his attack. If I succeed, I might just be able to survive this round. Well, in this case, I might survive, but my artillery did not. I still have one more artillery, it's not critical. It's still pretty bad though. But hey, now we have this other artillery kinda protected, so we are kinda fine, if I'm kinda right about this. I just hope that we have enough troops to properly defend this one. And I will also move one of these to defend the back just in case. But now he got very confident with this one because he just moved out of his cover. I can't really punish him right now, unfortunately, so I have to let him get away with it, I guess. Or I might just go a very wild run at him. Let's just finish him with the remaining infantry over here. And I hope we're doing kind of fine. I cannot really say just yet. Everything depends on whether I can defend my second artillery or not. But I am having some more confidence this time. I'm pretty sure that I have managed to disable like 4 of his cavalries, which might just worth the trade-off. So yeah, also I might just move into that town over there. I am really badly considering it. At the very least I could slow down his advance. I guess let's just try to beat off his retreating cavalry first, and then just fall back even, I don't know. Okay, these guys should try to reinforce my lines. I would need some more on the north right now, so let's go over there. It's probably the best if I just play threatening with this cavalry and just try to flank his horse artillery right now. Alright. Yeah, we have managed to save our things. In fact, he is in a very bad position now. There is no doubt about that one. Bad news, he is shooting me in the back. I do not like back shots, so maybe I should do something about it as soon as possible. At the same time, I should respond with my own aggressive moves, such as trying to deal with that cavalry over there and threatening and potentially undermining his horse artillery. I should also try to develop some of my infantry flanks and just send some immediate attention on the northern part of the front, because we are kind of falling apart over there, not gonna lie. Okay, let's just do something like this, and then we might just be chilling. I had to make this a bit wider so I have place for my other units as well, like so. And then if I can fit my units, then maybe I will not get crushed to death. I would love to explore the possibility of not being crushed to death. That could really help my current situation. Alright, this looks manageable. Let's just try to get to his artillery now. Although he is very aware of the danger over there. And yet I will try to exploit it the best as possible. Unfortunately, he is kinda in a good position, not gonna lie. And yet I cannot flank him with my lightning fast cavalry. Look, he took the town, but I will just bypass the town. Look at that. I shall continue moving up north with my troops. And I also have to fall back a bit further to make room for the shots of my artillery. As you can see, they are blocked by my infantry right now. So let's just keep falling back a bit more. I will fall back all the way to that river over there, probably. And okay, now I might just commit to an aggressive offense on the south, just to withdraw his attention even. This will be a gamble. I'm not sure if it will pay out just yet, but I will try it nonetheless. It definitely has that now his horse is going to be a bit more preoccupied. And look, one more cavalry unit down over here. One more chance to win the battle. I might just put all of them on the north flank now. That is where they are the most needed right now. Yeah, I had to shoot at my own artillery, but that is never going to recover anyways. Sacrifices have to be made right now. Is he pulling back? Well, no, that's unfortunate. Because he's doing some very big damage to me. Oof. I would have to move some troops over there because I'm not liking my current situation. Yeah, let's also pull back with my cavalry a bit more. And I will assault his fort in the next turn probably. Surprisingly, we are actually winning the second round so far. But it might not be for so long if I'm not playing good enough. Let's just pay attention to my micro first. How about that? Okay, I'm going to end my turn in a second. It's important not to make a mistake in these critical rounds. I think you may have seen it already, but once I have misclicked once and it caused my units to rush out of a town and I lost like 2 infantry units in a very important moment. So yeah, it can suck if you don't really pay attention to your moves. Alright, now I can just charge straight at that artillery unit over there. In fact, I might just do the same over here. My cavalry's path would be blocked right now, but I think that he might just assume that I would move away with my cavalry for a more preferable position. It's a gamble, but I will make that gamble nonetheless. And down over here, oh, his artillery is going down, unfortunately. Well. Now, about this artillery, it's time to use them even more powerfully. Just look at one of these shots. If I move away with this unit, it's going to be fine probably. Alright, let's get some more of my troops over there on the north. I would need them to survive. And let's deal some very nice micro damage. I want to make sure to damage as many troops as possible over here, because this match is very close right now, and I don't really want to lose by a hair. Oh yeah, and let's not forget about these cavalry units. They will be a game changer in a couple of turns. They will charge straight at his lines and they will rout some of these troops. Alright, it looks very nice. I will lose my victory point, but it is fine. Once I beat on his army, I will take it back. So we are just chilling. Oh yeah, look at that. I have managed to rout one of his troops in this round, in fact. Oh, are you supposed to garrison your artillery? Well, I guess you could garrison artillery. That's an option. I will try to sacrifice 2 of my line infantry units to save it now. I should have paid more attention to it, and then it will be more fine. But now it's going to have to try to make a run for it in a hurry. But well, what can I do now? At the same time, I will also put some further troops down there. Possibly, yeah, I believe so. I just, oh, no, I don't really want to select all of my troops. Let's just move down with this one. This can continue attacking over there. This one could move down as well. I have to like charge down one of those troops. So maybe like, let's do this perhaps. And then this should go do the shoot and advance. Now this cavalry could go all the way like that and then flank them from behind. Let's deal some very nice and neat damage on him. Making sure that I have the correct position is the tricky part over here. If I don't pay attention and my lines crack at the wrong part, the battle could have a very unexpected turn, and I don't really want that right now. Alright, but let's just see this. Yeah, we are kind of winning still, so it's fine. Although he has just managed to like catch up to my artillery, I will try to like hold him by getting in the way of that line infantry. Hopefully it might work, but just to make sure I will also flank him from behind. And these guards are kinda outnumbered. That is to be expected though. I just want to delay the decisive moment down there. Okay, I just keep shooting at them. I might even just go after these cavalries because I don't really want them to regain their org and then rejoin the fight. But it might not be necessary. In fact, there might be more needed on the center right now. So I might just move over there instead. Let's just deal some micro damage. I mean multi-shots, whatever, how you want to call them. Because we can gain some more advantage by doing that. And we have also taken down his second artillery. How nice! Now let's get the hell out of there if we can. There's nothing to gain over there for now. I could also charge straight at him. Same over there. This unit is kind of useless right now, so let's just fall back with them. Like so. And this could take their place. Well, yeah, this looks manageable. My only issue is how he has these full HP troops in the center. They could be a problem, but I have an artillery. It's not dead yet. I could still save it. And then if I manage to do that, then I might be fine. Yeah, let's just hope the best. And let's see. Yeah, I have failed the sacrifice move in the previous game, but in this one I have managed to carry on with it. And just like that, I may have won the game. Now, let's just not let go of it just yet. I should still try to play the best I can, because losing is still very much an option, and it's an option I do not wish to explore. So let's just put some of my troops into the right position to take advantage of the situation. I'm going to try to box him in and crush him from all sides imaginable. I will also try to weaken some of his fleeing troops just in case, if they could rejoin the fight just in time, which is not likely to be fair, but I want to make sure nonetheless. Yeah, and we also have this full HP unit that is required right over here, down here. And in the far south engagement, we are slowly losing, but that's to be expected kinda. It's still kinda fine, I mean, that's my point. Even if we lose down over here, we can still win over here, and then we win the battle. It's simple as that. Alright, let's end our turn. And we are getting more and more decisive now. He will get to my cannons once again, but I could still just crash him at this point. I have managed to weaken down his infantry units, in fact, just largely enough that now I can just destroy them. I would love to do something regarding his fleeing troops as well, but I might not be able to, so that's something that I have to accept right now. Yeah, let's pull my cavalry over here on this part of the map, because I still have a victory to gain over there. And then on the far south, I only have one more infantry standing, but I was aware that previously as well, so I'm not surprised. Yeah, I'm just going to crush his troops now. It's a very nice battle, if you ask me.
That's me withdrawn, man.
And he has withdrawn. Well played.
Yeah, GG's.
It was a nice
That map
battle.
was brutal. Yeah. I had nowhere to hide my flanking attacks. It was an open ass field for the whole game.
Yeah, it was scaring me quite hard.
I'll play one more decider match.
Sure, we could.
Yeah, that match, by the way, that was I'll say my infantry along the east side.
Yeah.
And man, that took forever. My infantry was out of the battle for 90% of it. I did not like that.
Yeah, and so I purposefully withdrawn to the river line, so that once you would attack me from the east, I would have the most amount of time to shoot you down.
Yeah, I should have withdrawn from the east, or sorry, from the west entirely. That's what I think I should have done. And just capture your point and then go from there. I don't know. But that was really a tough game, man.
It was a very interesting game. And a very nice one as well.
Yeah, well played. That was the toughest I've ever played. That was something else, man.
It was the best game I played in this week, probably, in fact. So I'm glad to have been able to get this opportunity by you. So thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried to how do you call it? I tried to, as soon as I realized battle would happen on the west, I tried to get my infantry like from the east to the west, but right to left, it just did not work out. It was too late.
Yeah, it
It
was
absolutely destroyed me.
very late, but well played, well tried.
Yeah,
It was a
I'll
good
see you
idea.
in. I'll fight you in a second, man.
Alright, see you.
Good luck.
Good luck. Alright, it's time to crush him once again. Let's do that. Alright, let's look at his deployment, because that is the most decisive thing. Alright, so let me explain my position. I have chosen this hill because it is the tallest hill among my starting hills. And so if I get on top of this, I could overlook most of the other hills as well. And so that could severely limit his options for his horse artillery to maneuver around. Although I will have to play a bit better, because this map is arguably not as good as the last one for me, and so I will really have to explore some weaknesses. I guess one advantage for me right now is how far away from my army is his left flank. So in a potential battle where I'm fighting against only his center and his right flank, I could gain the upper hand probably. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. First of all, I should move my artillery a bit closer to his. That could ease the rest of the game for me. I have these random people joining into the voice call, and they just like don't know what is going on because both of us are just like muted. Alright, the time is up, and so I can look at his moves. So yeah, I was kinda anticipating that he would try to move his troops over to the other side of the river, and then try to pressure me from over there. After all, there is a very nice hill over here as well, and yeah, I was also kind of expecting him to move on one of these hills. However, if he does, I will have the upper hand to some degree, because my cannons are on the high ground, and so pretty much wherever he goes, from where he could be able to shoot at me, I could have the upper hand. Now the question is, do I want to gamble here and just straight out charge at his ranks, trying to win the battle before his left flank could arrive, or do I want to play defensively and just dig into around this hill? My opinion is that I already had a very nice victory in the previous round. This time I can focus on just having a fun game, so I just want to make it more fun by playing a lot more aggressive than it would be reasonable for me in this position. So I will try to make some threatening and aggressive moves towards his lines, and then I will see what positions could I abuse once we get there. I would like to keep most of my cavalry closer to his artillery, because his threat seems to be pretty nice, where he just like charges down at the enemy's artillery. So I just want to replicate some of his moves, because he would never expect that. Have I just said that really? Because I just seen him withdrawing from the center, and that kinda suggests that he was anticipating for me to charge at the center. Alright, so we are now forced to stick to plan B and just dig into around the hill. Fortunately, his artillery is still just further enough for me to redeploy my troops while being a safe distance away from the enemy. And as a bonus, I can also shoot at his artillery that is going into formation right now. Now, should I challenge him across the river? I'm not sure yet, but I would definitely love to have some of my cavalry on the right though, because if I wanted to take advantage of this river and just cross over it and crush his units, then I would be at least closer to my destination. At the same time, I have too many units stacked at the same place, so I will just try to distance them out kinda. I still like to have most of my units at the defense of the artillery, but they are a bit too close, so I can have them fall back a little bit. And I will end my turn in a second, but I still have to move this unit over here. Alright, let's check this out. So he got kinda baited by my purposeful bait attack. It was a bait from the start, I'm telling you. And so he had withdrawn with his right flank and with his center. Now, do I crush his left? I would love to, but he is protected by the hills right now, so I cannot do that right now. And I will just generally have to fall back to the proximity of this hill. I guess it's fine, everything is still pretty decent, and we seem to have some very neat control over the battlefield so far. Whenever you control the battle conditions, that's usually a good sign for the rest of the battle as well. And so, thinking strategically, if he is to commit on his withdrawal, then I might just be better off with reassigning my artillery on the left. And for that, it would be good if I could move this artillery on top of this hill, so it could overlook the enemy units kinda better. And yeah, that's more or less about it for now. So I will just submit my orders, and let's see what happens. Okay, he seems to have formed a second line over here. I'm still not sure if he intends to attack or not. He seems to be playing some kind of confusing diversified warfare, where he also prepares himself for the defense while also prepares for the advance. I'm not sure if that would work out for him, but it worth a shot. And now I can just focus on destroying his artillery, as I have wanted to do it from all along. Let's get some of my infantry out of the way, and my cavalry should be ready to ambush him at any moment. Alright, he actually moved quite quickly, and he's also withdrawing quite quickly. Am I the one playing with him, or am I being played? Because now I just moved over my artilleries, and it seemed to have been for nothing. I guess I may have shot down one of his guns in the artillery, but it's only going to do so much about the threat that he's posing to me. I guess I might just keep shooting at him, or I could also just shoot at his troops over there. Well, I mean, he will get away in a couple of seconds, either way, so I might just pull my artillery over here and then just bombard the heck out of him. So yeah, I will just wait this turn out and look at his plans. He actually moved back. He must have checked what units I can shoot at, and he played this rather smart. He really tries his best to not give me a chance at beating his troops before the battle. And well, I can't really do anything right now. I can just dig in and wait for him to do something. Does he want me to go on the offense? Because I don't have an offensive build, he is the one with the offensive build, so I would be outmaneuvered quite quickly. Alright, he is not doing anything in fact. At the same time, I don't really think that I could do anything as well. So I will just keep this current formation. However cursed it may look, it will get better as soon as I know what the enemy wants to do. Okay, I might just have a chance to look at his plans, although I assume that he would want to link up with his cavalry on the far left and just try to do a combined charge at me. But I may have been wrong on this one. It's still very unclear for me what he intends to do with my army. And on that note, I might just move my artilleries closer to his ranks. I should seek to deal as much damage to him as possible before the battle itself begins. Now let's just check on this new turn orders. He's falling back even further. Does he really want me to take the offensive? Well, let's see what would happen if I was to charge at this hill. Well, yeah, he has this mobile unit. As soon as my troops would go towards that hill, he would most definitely move out with this and then either go to like over here or capture the hill that I leave behind. And then these cavalries will just sit it out, they would also join the fight. So yeah, I am looking at this and I believe it to be quite risky, but at the same time we are here to have fun and it's not really a sweat game. So I might just start to unite with my cavalry at the south, and then I will just go on to a crazy offense in the next turn. Yeah, and so this would also leave that I would completely abandon this hill over here. But hey, it is all a part of my plan. And look at him, he tries to bait me into so hard that he even pulls further back with his infantry. Now I have a plan, by the way. I have the plan of my own to engage with the cavalry first, so that he couldn't run away with his horse artillery, and that he would be forced to fight a fight over here. Now, he kinda outnumbers me, so he would have the advantage at first, but once my main battle force arrives, I could crush him. Now, if I'm lucky enough, I can crush him soon enough for me to not be destroyed by all these other troops up on the north, like right over here. That is not the best circle, I'm sorry, but yeah, they are right over here. And that is kind of what my plan relies on. So let's just start this grand battle plan by mobilizing the cavalry. I can also start moving my main battle lines at the same time, surely. Abandoning the hill might be a bit risky, but meh, I'm here to have fun after all. Oh, I could leave one of my artilleries behind. Oh, there's the bait. That's the bait right over here. Nah, I'm not taking it any further. I'm not going to go after you and chase you down and let you lead me into a trap. I'm going to sit on my hill where everything is perfect, nothing is wrong, and people live in peace. Well, it is a war game, so it can only get so peaceful, but it's still a way cooler place than wherever he is going to. Let's just end our turn and let's see the disappointment in his face. I guess we could make something out of this. Although, the thing is that you have the offensive build. If I was to charge straight at you, I've got outmaneuvered quite quickly.
But the thing is, I cannot like physically if I tried. There's like no buildings, there's no mountain between. If you like go on the left hill, I might be able to do something. I'm taking over the hill you're currently on from the right, but like it's like
yeah, it's quite powerful.
I can't do anything here. It's like the unmovable like wall versus the unstoppable force at this point.
Yeah, it is a nice game. I think you played well, but it seems to be a draw. Oh, yeah. Alright, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, good luck hiding now. You ain't hiding anything from me now.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit more difficult. Good luck.
Good luck to you, man. Have fun.
Have fun. I have to say that I have preferred the games that I picked. This map is not going to be that amazing for me. But hey, I cannot lay my trust into my artillery this time. But I might be able to force him to pick a fight where cavalry is also quite ineffective. So I am considering in fighting one of these towns or one of these forests. I'm just trying to think of a reasonable scenario where we could end up in a full out fight over there. I guess if I moved one of my cannons to like over here and one more like over here, or maybe like both of them over here and over here, then he would be forced to charge at me, right? I believe so, maybe. So I think that I will just set up on the right part of the battlefield. Either that or I could just pull back to somewhere very very far away. But I think it's fine if I just do this. And then I would like to get some of my guards close to the forest. My infantry should be in the nearby as well. And so is my cavalry. Now I just try to improve my deployment a bit, but that's all I will be able to do. So this is our situation, and let's look at him. He is going to rush in quite quickly. My hope is to just kinda hold this line around the hill where I could hold his cavalry advances. And I'm not sure how to protect my rear. I guess I could just assign my cavalry on the rear to watch out from any potential attacks from there. And yeah, I could probably destroy his infantry in the forest and in the towns. So yeah, that's my optimistic view of this battle so far. Now let's just move in. Okay, so I have made my moves for the infantry and for the artillery. I will not move my cavalry for now. I would like to see how his cavalry goes first. So I will just end my turn now, and I will soon be able to look at his moves. Okay. Everything goes according to plan for now. Hold on. Let me just give a speech to my brave fighting men on the field. My men, this is not a day of sorrow. This is a day of fight. Today, we shall hold our ground and defend our lands from these hefty invaders. We shall show that every metal can be broken, that it only takes the right terrain to crush any enemy. They must learn a lesson. They do not know our bayonets, they do not know our swords, so let's have them meet up close range. Okay, that was not the best speech I had given. But still, I think I got my point through. I would like to basically decide the fate of this battle in some kind of a closed range combat, if it's possible. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Ooh, look at that. Big damage. Although there's a forest in the way, unfortunately. Well, whatever. I also hit my own infantry. Well, oopsie. Let's try to get my troops into formation. Actually, let's not get to the edge of the forest, because he could shoot at me if I'm at the edge of the forest. I would like to get him to commit to fight deep in the forest, where I could utilize the quality advantage of my guards. He has the quantity, but I have the quality. I will also cross the river over here, just to occupy these towns for this time. And there isn't really much to add to it. I will try to get to the edge of this hill, because you always want to be at the edge of the hill, because for once we will be closer to the enemy, and second of all, we will be able to like shoot down a bit more, and our view at close range will not be blocked by the hill itself. And I might just move this artillery on the rear, to be fair. I don't really see a purpose for it over here at the center-ish. This is my center now. I don't really see use for it in the center. Okay, let's check this round out. Everything is foundational so far. I think he would try to get to the town, in which case I am not in a good position. The town will reduce the damage that I dealt to him by a very high margin. So yeah, that would be unfortunate, unfortunately. I should also finish moving my artillery into position, and let's kinda diversify the position of my cavalry. Or I mean, let's just loosen up their formation. Yeah, this looks more like it. This looks more manageable. Okay, yeah, he got the town over there, and now he also seems to be crossing right over here, but now I have moved my artillery just quickly enough to stop him. In fact, I could play something very wild and very aggressive and just charge out with my cavalry. The last ride out of the cavalry to try to sweep off his artillery before they could get into a very good position. Now, at the same time, I will also try to like weaken down this unit. However, he is in the town as a matter of fact, and he will not take that much damage. I am aware of that, but still, let's just keep shooting at him, why not? Also, I will get flanked very soon if I don't pay attention. He could just move in with his cavalry and just flank me like so easily over there. I bet he will flank me eventually. So yeah, I will just look out for that. I think I have enough units to counter it. But yeah, I still kinda look fine for the most part. He's not that willing to commit in the forest just yet, but maybe he's just awaiting some reinforcements. So I will see. Let's just end my turn for now. And yeah, I could potentially crash his party over there, and I bet he would not like that. Ooh, at the same time I could also just charge into the center town and defeat his units over there. But then I would be overextending like so much. I guess I could though, and I maybe should. How many turns? I will be there in like 2 turns, then I might just do it. Well, no, I really shouldn't, because these troops are just way too close right now. I don't really want to risk it because of that. But yeah, overall we look kinda fine, which is quite a relief. In fact, I might just even move one of my infantries to have this offense on the left, and then I just hope that I could also hold the right for a bit longer as well. Let's just keep shooting at his artillery because it got weakened quite some much. Alright, let's end our turn and let's check out the moves in the second turn. Okay, moves had been made, so now I should like to see them. Okay, ooh, he really just lets me take this offensive on him. I did not expect it at all. That is a great surprise to me. Although if he was to like turn around with this cavalry, like this so, then he could hammer me into place. That would be quite smart from him. Although it would sacrifice one of his cavalries, but then he could potentially link up with these infantries coming from the south and then just hurt my units very, very badly. So yeah, I might even commit a bit more with this reallocated infantry. For now, I will just try to move it kinda towards the northwest direction, so I could get closer to him while also staying away from these threatening forces from the south. And speaking of them, I would also give some barrage to them. And yeah, hopefully this might be enough for now. I will continue weakening his artillery though. And this one I might just reallocate. No, I cannot because of the forest, so I will just keep shooting at him then. Alright, this looks very nice. I will move this infantry in defense of my artillery. But yeah, we are chilling now. Okay, let's check out the developments on this front. Ooh, he played me well there. It was a very strong move, and it just got me there. So yeah, I will have to withdraw, fall back with some of these cavalries over here now. I just got out my crowd and like outmaneuvered. So yeah, he played it well. Actually, how much HP does this unit have? I would like to know. He has a lot. I can't really break him right now. Yeah, let's just pull back, and then we might be able to like fight in a more favorable condition later on. At the same time, I will also pull back with this infantry as well, because now there is nothing for them to do. They will get killed if I was to move them over here. So that's right, I shall also either bombard these units, or what I would consider more this time is to move this artillery back on the right flank and just shoot down some of his cavalries. And yeah, the same as usual for this artillery, I will just keep wearing him down. Eventually it will just make a big difference, I hope. But so yeah, that's all for now. I will continue with these orders. They seem to be fine. And I kinda messed up the retreat, but just a little bit. Now I have the chance to just get the hell away from there. And I will use that completely. Okay, but here comes his cavalry now. That can be a problem. I will start shooting at them, but they can get into quite some problem very, very quickly. I don't really want to reallocate some more troops from over here, because I might get into trouble later on if I do. So for now, I will only try to move out with these troops from the town, like accordingly so. And it still looks pretty decent now. If I was to like predict his movement, then I would say that this cavalry would continue going up north, and they would only flank once I wouldn't really expect them, like right over here. This unit will probably just pull back. This unit, I don't know actually, he might just pull back as well. I feel like I'm baited to let this unit pass. So with that being said, I might just actually target this unit. Oh, not this one. I might just target this unit over here. It would make sense. So yeah, why not? That's gonna be it all. I will now end my turn, and I shall now see if I have managed to predict his movement. Actually, he is a lot more aggressive than I would have thought. But it's fine because we are still very, very much chilling after all. I'm just trying to move as many infantry units for defending the artillery as possible. Kinda like this. Something like this should be fine, I believe. And I don't even have to move out with these infantry units. Technology. Wow. Also, look at these troops over here. He might be trying to create a big power accumulation so that he could charge me down in the forest. I should keep an eye on that, because right now I am overcommitting on the right. And so the sooner I get away from there, the better it will be. Now let's not forget about retreating with my cavalry. And let's pull back into the forest with that guy. Alright, that's it all. Okay. I am proud to say that I have managed to predict his movement within a great enough margin of error that was just enough for me to not get beaten this time. Okay, now I've got to prepare to fight his other units on the left now, and also now there is a battle in the forest finally. I was awaiting this for some time. This means that I don't really need these garrisons anymore. I can just send them over to more active parts of the front, like so. Let's do this over here as well. This guy should try to like cover that artillery along with my cavalry. Actually no, let's just move into the forest. I need every attention there for now. Yeah, something like this looks fine-ish. I just need to deal with this attack in the forest. In fact, I might just fall back for this turn, try to like lure him in, while also giving me some more time to reunite with my other units. And then I could destroy him, pretty much. I should just really keep an eye on his other offense on the left, because that could still go very, very badly. But yeah, I kinda like this situation right now, so I will just try to hold this position. And now we shall see if our plan has worked as expected. Well, okay. We are going to have to commit to a big cavalry engagement, it seems like. I was not quite expecting that. I can't even really just go after these cavalrymen because I just need to respond to this other attack now. Well, some of his cavalries are still like very far away, so I could just try to deal with 2 of his units first and then defeat him in detail if I'm able to. But nothing is guaranteed right now. That is something to keep in mind. Okay, let's just send these troops over as well. And once we engage, I would like to grab the advantage somehow. Somehow being by weakening his troops and then crushing them with the guards eventually. Now, I'm surprised why this artillery is not really active right now, because they could definitely do some damage in the forest and that could turn the battle to their favor somewhat. So yeah, that's one thing I'm not sure of, but otherwise he is kinda predictable. And alright, now let's see this run as well. My attacks seem to have worked out really well. I mean, we are just crushing this cavalry over here, although now he has a chance to like flank around us, so I should keep an eye out for that. And yeah, this cavalry is also behind my lines right now. That is quite uncomfortable to me, and yet I can't really do anything about it right now, so I will have to cope with it, I guess. At the same time, I will eventually try to charge this unit down. Actually, I just like charge him down right now. At the same time, I should also try to deal some range damage, some nice micro damage like so. And he seems to be avoiding my guards for some reason. I mean, they are strong for sure, I can get that, but he has no reason to like exclude them from like social activities. They are people too. Could I charge him down? I could actually do quite some threat to him over there. But first I will go to this house, and if he lets it, I will also like charge down his artillery, I guess. Or maybe if I go like, nah, let's just get into that town first, this house over here, and then I might just charge him down eventually. But yeah, we look kinda fine, although I might just lose some of my artillery over here. That is quite unfortunate, but I can't really do anything about it right now. I guess I could try to like prevent it like so, but it might just fail. Although it kinda worked and kinda not at the same time. It is not easy to like completely outline if it's good for me or if it's like bad for me. But either way, now we have to deal with the threat in the forest a bit more. Fortunately, I have this artillery over here, but they will not be able to deal some crazy damage because of the forest, of course. But yet, I will still try to do my best and get some very nice damages to his ranks. Although he is also very good at damaging my troops, I have noticed. So yeah, I will send one more infantry over to the left, because I might need some. Actually 2 more, let's make it 2. And this guy might want to get into the town over there. Yeah, that should be fine. And the game is still very much tight, although I have a very reasonable lead so far. But nothing is granted, especially not right now. I want to make sure to deal some multi-damages wherever I can, like here and there, because once they add up, they go to a very long way, just believe me. Okay, our turn is apparently over. So let's just see our situation. How have I survived that? No, I am winning. Why am I winning in the cavalry battle? I thought my cannon was gone, but now we are winning? Men of the Blue Nation! The cavalry have perished. They are truly unworthy of this victory. For we have fought, and we are standing victorious. I will have tried to like shoot over the heads of my troops, only to damage his troops. Like so. Although it won't be that crazy of a damage, but it will be some damage nonetheless. Same over here, it looks very nice. And I might just start charging at him even, why not? Like so. And these guys should just target that guy over there. And them could just move up to reinforce this very small part of the battlefield. And the same is true for this one as well, I guess. Let's not let him get away from my cannons, of course. Let's make all the required steps to secure in my ranks, I guess. But yeah, we are chilling for the most part. I will crush his troops in the forest in a couple turns. He's already breaking in the south, in fact, due to my quantity advantage and also my artillery coverage. And yeah, he feels the need to retreat, but now it might be just a bit too late. In this position I will withdraw with my damage units and I will replace them with these fresh and full orc units. I shall also charge wherever I see some Lorf orc units, because they are just about to fall. I will also start shooting at his cavalry in the forest, because I don't really want him to gain too much organization. I will also get away from the way, of course, because I don't really enjoy getting shot in the back by my fellow artillerymen. And so yeah, I'm also jumping on this unfortunate guy, and I'm also trying to find another good offense in the forest. I mean, a good artillery shot in the forest, like this one. But yeah, we are kinda chilling, not gonna lie. Hold the line! Man, hold the line! We are almost victorious! Hold out for a bit longer! Look at them fleeing! The battle is soon to be officially won by us. Now it's the chance to go after them and chase them down in their fleeing. If you had some troops over here, then I might have some second thoughts about charging after him, because I could get very easily outflanked from here and here, kinda encircled into, but this time it is definitely a genuine panic retreat. Also, I'm getting shot in the back by that dude, which is not my favorite activity. So I should try to get away from the way for now. And I will also send over one infantry to help as well, I believe. Why not? Let's keep shooting at that cavalryman as well. And yeah, everything still stands, we are still winning. And our lead only grows by the turn. Okay. And yeah, I mean, he does not really have a chance in the forest. In fact, he's about to lose like one more man. Yo.
GG's, man.
You have played very well in this
Keep
game.
battle.
But yeah,
You played better.
I have forced you into like an unfavorable battle. So yeah.
Yeah, I thought I had a chance with the two hills on left and right being good for my artillery. But I
Yeah.
mistimed the cavalry charge, I'm pretty sure. I put too much emphasis on those cannons. Those cannons kill my cavalry too quick.
Yeah, your plan
But yeah,
was good, but the execution fell apart a little bit. But well played.
Yeah. No, well played, man. That's me for tonight. You win the best of 3 for today.
I have enjoyed these games. Well played, and thank you for these games.
Yeah, take care, man. Love your videos. Have a good night, man, right?
Thank you, have a good night. See ya.
See ya.
So yeah, this was about this battle. I hope you enjoyed this, and also we are just very close to hitting some very nice numbers over here. Just keep it in mind, you know? Just kinda saying.